Now we've already seen how in my bedroom with resources assigned file, there is an over allocation of the joiner. We're asking him to do too much in a day, therefore project doesn't really complain, but points it out to us by adding little red men against the tasks that the joiner is oversigned on, and in the resource sheet showing us the joiner in red. Now one of the optional solutions, as well as the ones we've looked at previously, was to actually assign the joiner some overtime. So he can still get the sand the woodwork and paint the woodwork done in a day and a half without being over allocated, but then has to do the extra over allocation as overtime. Now to assign overtime in Microsoft Project, we need to introduce the split screen, which we've seen. So let's introduce the split. And then in the bottom half here, ensure we are looking at the work data, and I am. If I were looking at a different one like the cost, then I'd right click and go back to work. Now, just for the purposes of proving that this guy is going to get overtime, in the top half here, we're going to have a quick look at the cost table for these two tasks. So they're currently $200 and $400. So it's $200 for sanding and $400 for painting. Go back to the entry table. And then we'll just close that for a second and go into the resource sheet because he actually doesn't get any overtime, but I'm going to give him $40 per hour. That's not bad, is it? So back to the Gantt chart. So we're in our Gantt chart. We're looking at the two tasks causing the problem, and we introduce the split screen, and we're looking at the work. This work sub-table is effectively the only place you will see this column, OVT work, overtime work. And what I need to do with the overtime is assign enough overtime for this chap to be able to do the over allocation outside of normal working hours. So sanding the woodwork, there's 8 hours work involved there for 2 people, but if some of it's done as overtime, then we'll be covered. So let's push half of it into overtime. So it's 4 hours of the 8 will be overtime. So this is not 8 hours work, 4 hours overtime, it's 4 hours of the 8 hours. Okay. Now we have an issue still, because that's still red, because paint the woodwork also starts on the same day, so he's still over allocated. So we need to take some of these 16 hours and push them into overtime. Now if I push 12 hours of those 16 into overtime, now we can do it because we're looking at a Friday till a Monday, so you can do some over the weekend. So remember, it's 12 of the 16, it's not 16 plus 12, it's 12 of those 16 will become overtime. And okay, you can see that the tasks are now not over allocated. But what does appear to happen is that their durations are a lot shorter. That's their duration within the work time. You'll find that overtime does not display inside your durations here because it's over and above those durations. So sanding the woodwork will take 0.25 days, as will paint the woodwork take 0.25 days, but that's 0.25 days of working time. The rest of it will be done as overtime. For us to find out whether that's worked financially, close the split and change this to the cost table. And we see that for those two tasks, sand the woodwork has now gone up to $260, so that's $60 more. And paint the woodwork's gone up to $580, so that's $180 more, because we've pushed the majority of those hours really into overtime rates, which the joiner is getting $40 per hour for. So that's how you deal and add in the overtime into project using the split view. Ensuring this bottom view is displaying the work by right-clicking here and choosing work, and then you add in the overtime as hours of the actual work. So it doesn't detract from the work hours, it doesn't get added to the work hours, it is part of the work hours, but it's dealt as overtime, so it's taken out of the bar here, so you don't actually see the overtime, but financially you have to pay for it.